Yay, full moon, everybody. Woo woo. Shout out to all the Virgos in the house. I know I've got a lot of them in my life. And yay to you for being here, for being a part of this community and setting aside this sacred time to connect with your heart and spirit and this community. Like the fact that you show up to these moon rituals, to these creative spaces, is really a testament to the work that you are doing on your creative path. And I just really, really want to make sure that you are showing up and you're doing the work and you're reflecting, which is what full moons are all about. And this particular full moon is no different. This full moon is always, always about reflecting. But now we have, oh, yay, Amy from Wings of Jewels says, I was so looking forward to this. Yay, I look forward to these too. And I'm so glad to have you here. Yeah, this Virgo full moon is very interesting because if you are, it doesn't really matter if you aren't familiar with the Virgo archetype, can be very analytical or like reviewing things. I often think of the Seven of Pentacles card in the Tarot, where the farmer's just kind of like looking at what they've created and it's like, not sure about that. That's okay. No. And that energy can sometimes devolve into nitpicking and criticism if we're not careful. So Virgo energy can be a little tricky. However, what we're going to discuss today and what the dialogue and the conversation that I want to involve you in today is, how do we objectively and through the lens of love take a look at our reality, at the reality of our creative process, at the reality of what it is we're producing or maybe not producing. Are our routines working for us? Are they not working for us? And how do we look at all this stuff without being a total jerk to ourselves? Right? I think that's really, really important. And if we can learn to do that today, which is what we're going to attempt to do, and we're going to ask Spirit via the Tarot to help us understand how to do that. If we can get to that point, I think we'll find that this Virgo energy really is coming from a place of love, a place of self-improvement, a place of wanting us to be our best, perform our best, and get to where we want to go. So let me just look at my notes here to make sure we stay on track. Yeah, so as we review this Virgo archetype, we're going to be talking today about routines. We're going to be talking about that power of noticing and how do we notice without getting critical of ourselves. And also the idea of like discerning versus judging, because we definitely don't want to get into judgy energy, but we do want to be able to kind of discern what's working for us and what's not. Before we do all that, it is very important that we center ourselves, that we bring ourselves fully embodied into this present moment. So wherever you are, I'd like you to get yourself even more comfy than you already were. Maybe you roll your shoulders back. Maybe you have a little kink back there like me and you kind of rub it out. There we go. of you sit up a little bit straighter. Maybe you remember you forgot to close the door, so you get up real quick, close the door. Whatever you need to do to bring yourself fully and completely present into this moment, go ahead and take some time to do that now. Let's start taking some deep breaths together, inhaling into our bellies and seeing that they expand when we inhale, and then just release it. Just letting everything go. Inhaling in again, nice and deep. And exhale through your mouth, let it go. A couple more times, inhaling in and release. Once again, granting yourself. I gotta get my computer back here. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about was routines. So this has been coming up very prominently for me right now, especially with this sun in Pisces. That's my 6th house, which is ruled by Virgo. So it's all about routine. So I've been getting a full dose of this energy. And I think that it's because I feel like what I'm going through can really help all of you make sense of this energy. So this dynamic between Virgo and Pisces is really important. In order for us to understand any astrological archetype, we really have to look at its opposite and understand why these two things go together. So I'm going to break for just a moment from Virgo, and I'm going to talk about Piscean energy, because Piscean energy can be so watery and fluid and part of the oneness and the void and dreamy, almost to the point of delusion. Sometimes Neptune can get that we lose sight of the real reality of our lives. And if we dive too deep into Piscean energies, we can get lost. So the opposite of Pisces is Virgo, and Virgo is Earth. It's all about reality, what's really there in front of you in your human experience, and taking a discerning eye and looking at what's being produced, what's coming up, what's being manifested, and asking ourselves, is this really what you want? Is this what you wanted? And if it's not, that awareness allows us to make adjustments as necessary. So again, that Virgo energy, if we don't include that Piscean compassion and grace, can get really critical, which we definitely don't want to do. So as far as routines go, I don't know about you, and I'm curious to hear in the comments how your creative routine is, because I seem to vacillate between the two extremes, and I'm looking for balance, which I'm hoping this full moon will help us all with, between really rigid structures that I try to maintain and then I end up burning out or losing my enjoyment of the process because I'm more focused now on just checking off boxes. Or I try to release all of that because the pressure's too much. And then I float around like Pisces and I don't really have any structure at all. And then it just kind of, your energy just kind of goes all over the place. So we need to be really mindful of our routines and are they producing the results that we want? Because too much routine, we all probably know, can start cutting us off from our creative flow. It can prevent us from exploring out-of-box ideas, and it can start to devolve into criticism. But too little routine, right, can cause our energy to disperse in a million different directions and sort of water down what we're trying to do because it's not being directed. It can cause a lot of anxiety. Like, we think maybe routine causes anxiety, but in my experience, not having routine causes incredible amounts of anxiety because I don't know what to do. What do I do today? Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do that? Now you have far too many options and you start to feel anxious and maybe end up doing nothing because you're not sure where to put your energy towards. And it can also, too little routine can also make you start to believe things about yourself that aren't true, like that you can't finish anything, that you're lazy, we can start to tell ourselves these stories that are not very supportive. So it's really important that we find balance. So I want to hear from you. What is your current feeling regarding routines? How is it that are routines something that you're afraid of, that stifle your energy, or are routines something that you feel like frees you? Or maybe you're like me and you're in a weird place with routines right now where you're kind of battling back and forth and you're just not even sure what works for you. You're still trying to figure it out, but whatever is happening right now is not working for you. All right, great. So Wing of Jewels says, I don't have a set routine for my art. I do like to take 3-month breaks from my writing. I still remain fluid, both with my written art and my visual art. Great. So we're working with a really loose routine, long breaks. And again, this Virgo energy is not meant to judge what you're doing. It's just meant to ask you, is it working for you? Oh, you know what? That noise in the background is this meditation music. I think it was like white noise. I'm so sorry. I'll try to turn that down even more. So this Virgo energy is going to ask you, and this full moon specifically, is it working for you? If it's working for you, 2 thumbs up from the universe. Keep doing that. Is it getting you the results that you want? It's producing the amount of work that feels good to you. And we have to be honest with ourselves in this moment and not slip into that Piscean delusion of like, I'll get there eventually, because that Virgo is meant to balance that and say, well, maybe, but you definitely will get there if you follow this set. So I want to take some time here and ask Spirit, with the help of our beautiful tarot, what is it that we need to understand and come to understand about routine, and how can we step into the highest vibration of Virgo's intention with routine? What are the ingredients we need to remember to maintain? How do we find that sweet spot? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that sweet spot. Not too restrictive, not too loose, definitely getting us towards our goals. Interesting. Okay, we have the 5 of Wands. Hopefully you all can see that. I'm going to show it to all the cameras. 5 of Wands. Okay. And I'm going to pull another one. Because the 5 of Wands is all about that inner conflict of wills. I want to do this, but I want to do that. The energies not being organized in a way that will make it work. Because these 5 wands, if they were organized, if all of these caricatures got it together and worked together, right? If all aspects of ourselves were in unison with each other, working together, these 5 rods would create a pentacle. Results, real reality. It would form, it would come into form. So it's important for us, I feel Spirit saying, that we get everybody on board, all of the aspects of ourselves that make up the wholeness of who we are. We all need to be moving in the same direction. So Wings of Jewels says, so the 3 months writing break works wonders for me when it comes to producing work. That's great. If it truly is working for you, keep it. Right? But so with routines and with regards to all of these players working together, for me, it's like certain parts of my routine work for certain things. The way that I work to produce my paintings pretty much works. The way that I have been setting up my routines to support exercise pretty much works. But the way that I have my routine set up, and I'll just be fully transparent, to run Awaken Creators is not working. And for me, that like I need to be doing more. I tried really hard at the end of last year to like put your head down, nose to the grindstone, get things done, schedule. That didn't work. Then I flipped the pendulum to, well, I'll just do things when I'm feeling it and blah, blah. And that's not working for me. It's causing a lot of anxiety and making me I just don't feel supported by my own routines. So yeah, so all of the pieces, right? We definitely even want to talk about health with Virgo. Do you feel healthy? Because our health, our body, that's all Virgo. And is it in a state to support your creative process? Or are you tired all the time? Are you not nourished? This one started peeking out, the 3 of Swords. So there can be a lot of mental connections here with regards to routines. Stories we've heard about routines, especially from masculine figures in our life. And those could, as far as external facing, it could have been your mom, it could have been your dad, it doesn't matter. But it's that masculine energy that maybe gave us certain attitudes about what it means to work, what it means to be lazy, what's a good routine versus a bad routine. And we really, at this point in our journeys, need to start deciding for ourselves what's going to work for us. So I would say if you have inner dialogues about maybe, for example, the 3-month break that Wings of Jewels has shared, for someone else, maybe you want to try that, but you've got these stories in your head about that being wrong or, fears related to that. So again, we need to just be honest with ourselves about where is that energy coming from, and can we rewrite that in a way that actually does support us. Oh, I love this comment. Beyond the rough draft creation part of it, though, I really haven't explored routines for things like editing, marketing, newsletter creation, etc. That's a fantastic point. Is that like depending on where we're at with a particular project, our routines could change, right? So again, with that, we don't want to get so rigid that we don't allow our routines to change as our project moves in its evolution, right? So for writing is a perfect example for when you are in that first draft, creativity is overflowing, you're just kind of all over the place letting it out, right? But then later on, when you need a little bit more of a discerning eye, you got to go back through the whole thing, you got to revise and all of that. Maybe you need a little bit more structure at that point, right? To make sure that you get it done. Because as from my personal experience of being a writer, revision can be overwhelming. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to go back through this whole thing. And like, I gotta like look at the big picture, zoom in on the scenes and all of that. So having a little bit more structure at that point in the process can be helpful. So yeah, keep that in mind too, that there can be different routines for different phases of your creative process. So there's a journal prompt. Um, there's a few journal prompts related to this that I wanted to go over. They are available on I think I posted them in all places. I posted them on Facebook and Instagram. I don't think I posted them on YouTube. I apologize, but I will get those out to the YouTube community tab. But this very first journal prompt is about that ability to look at your routines honestly. And what do I notice in my environment, in my attitude, in my routines that's not serving my creative process? So if we go back to Spirit showing us this Five of Wands card, as far as routines go, which aspect of your life is really kind of not working together with the others? Maybe it's a living situation that's not working for you. Maybe it's um, the amount of time that you give to your creative projects. Maybe you need more time. Maybe you need less time. Maybe it's your health routine that's not working for you. It's not giving you enough energy to get through the day to support what you want to do. What aspect? Maybe it's an attitude you have. Again, that mindset you have about taking breaks that's preventing you, that's not serving your creative process. Do you beat yourself up when you want to take a break? Do you get a little too loosey goosey when you want to take breaks and then you sometimes don't get back to things? So let's try to be really honest with ourselves. So you can journal. And if you want to share your thoughts on that, what are you noticing in your environment, attitude, or routine that's not really serving your creative process? If you're willing to share, I would love to hear it, because I don't know that I'm the only one. Maybe I am, but yeah, I already kind of shared, like, as far as awakened creators content creation goes, I think that I need to do more. I need to be a little more organized. And actually my sister helped me with that recently, because I time block my days, but I wasn't deciding what I'm doing in those time blocks. And instead of trying to maybe, just figure it out on the fly. Okay, what do I need to do today? I have 3 to 4 hours, get stuff done. I decided I'm going to experiment with theming my days. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Awakened Creators, content creation, video editing, and all of that. Tuesday, Thursday is writing. I'm in the midst of revising a novel right now, so I know what to do there. And Saturday, Sunday would be my painting days, where I move forward on my paintings. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as my routines go and what I'm trying to do. So let's see. Wings of Jewels says, I have a lot of responsibilities on my shoulders, which does interfere with how much energy I can put into my art career. Yeah, right? Especially you've got other people depending on you. You've got errands to run, households to take care of, all of these things. And it's not impossible to make adjustments, but it certainly can feel overwhelming. So where can we shift our mindset, shift our attitudes, maybe step up, ask for what we need if we need other people to help us? Miss Crystal Willis says, I get to notice when I'm judging and blaming myself instead of noticing it as evidence of my desire to shift things without the judgment. Right. Yeah. So that Virgo energy again can get critical if we forget to balance it with the opposites of that Piscean compassion and grace, 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 which means we let ourselves stumble and fall, and we don't make fun of ourselves and we don't pick on ourselves. Grace is this like loving mother energy that like lets her kid learn how to walk, and she just sort of holds space and like, I still love you. Even though you're struggling, I see you're struggling. I still love you. You being in balance gets to be a priority and a non-negotiable. Yeah. Right. So where can we ask for the help that we need and get these fellows here in working together? So maybe these are people in our environment. Sometimes when things are showing up for us internally and we're not maybe paying attention to it enough, it starts to manifest in our external, in our relationships with other people, so that we can see it. The universe is reflective. It's like walking through a hall of mirrors. So if you've got people in your environment that are maybe calling into question your routines or how things are working, like try your best to stay objective, don't take it personally, obviously, unless it's abusive or something, but like see it for what it is, a reminder. Oh, you're right. I need more. So that's perfect. That's a perfect segue into the next topic, which is noticing. Noticing. What does it mean to notice? What does it mean to notice? Oh, cool. We've got some comments on Facebook. Cassandra's saying, I'm really good at spending time thinking about everything I should do, and I could be spending some of that time actually doing the things. I could work on priority management. I totally feel you. Also lacking enough self-care. Lately, you are not alone. Yeah, so prioritizing things, right? Being willing to admit what is important to us and asking for what we need. Be a gentle observer, Crystal says. Yeah, that's exactly it. So that noticing energy, okay? We don't want to devolve into nitpicking, which is really easy to do. Okay, I don't like that. This isn't going well for me in my life. I really wish I could, you know, change this about this and this about that. And, if we were to notice everything in our life that we don't feel like is in alignment with what we desire, that list might be very long, okay? And that's okay. It's okay that the list is long. What's not okay is to start picking on ourselves for having a long list or even having anything on our list, because we can sometimes do that too, right? We want to be very grateful and we want to be in gratitude and joy all the time. But the truth is, the reality of Virgo is that not everything is how we want it yet. It's just not. And that's okay. It's okay. Okay. Again, there's that dynamic. We can go full on Pisces and we can just say, I'm going to try to be the most spiritual of the spiritual of the spiritual and ignore the reality. And then Virgo's over here like, but it's not actually all that great. Like, I'm thankful, but there are things I want to change. So we can be honest with ourselves there and notice. And Crystal says, instead of focusing on what I should do, let's stand in the question of why I don't want to or haven't yet. That the answers are there and that's the work. Yeah. So when we can start asking ourselves these questions, but without devolving into judgment, we can start to really get somewhere. But how do we do that? How do we make sure not to fall into judgment? Let's ask. Right? How can we notice without falling into judgment? What's that gift there? Where's that balance? Help us understand. Help us to understand. Oop. What did we get? Oh, this is so perfect. The 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups. This is how we can understand, how we can notice without judgment. Cups are our capacity to feel our emotions, that part of us that knows when we are fulfilled and when we're not. There's a part of us, that higher self, that more expansive self that can see and observe and is witnessing all of this, can see and notice where we're not fulfilled, where our cup is still low. Okay. And if we can tap into that, getting quiet with ourselves and really feeling and tuning in, we'll know where we're just not quite there. And with this 8 of Cups, the figure gets his wand, his will, his energy, his action, and starts to walk away from what's not fulfilling to move towards what is, to grab another cup to make this 9. And that 9 of Cups is that happy merchant, that creator who's creating for the sake of creating and is amassing all of these beautiful pieces and doesn't care if anyone buys them or not. It's all just joy and love and fulfillment. So what's the missing cup for you? That's what you're noticing. Where is your cup empty? Where are you feeling unfulfilled? Oh my gosh. Look at the bottom of the deck. It's that missing cup. How cool is that? Wow. See, you can't make this stuff up. Spirit is talking to us through these archetypes. There's your missing cup. Okay. So the noticing, and yes, this is so beautiful because I have in my personal partnership with a Virgo, a double Virgo, mind you, Virgo sun, Virgo rising, have come to notice and or have come to understand the noticing is love. It's meant to be love. The intention behind it is love. It's not criticism. Okay. For example, if you notice your the foods you're eating maybe are not fulfilling you, they are not leaving you feeling good and nourished and well taken care of. Okay. Noticing that is not a criticism of you. What's happening is your higher self is seeking more love. Where can you add more love into your diet? Where can you love yourself through the foods you're eating? Okay. So make sure that, we have to just remember that it's got to come from a place of love, which leads me to the second journal prompt. If love, not judgment, not criticism, but love, if love is the missing ingredient, which very quite literally are being shown, there's a missing ingredient and it's love. Like, it's perfect. If love is the missing ingredient, how can I add more love to my creative process and my daily routines? I really would love to hear some of your thoughts on this. How can you add more love to your creative process, to your daily routines? Do you need more love in the form of breaks? Do you need more love in the form of more structure? Like me, I need more. I need, like, the floor is sagging. I need to love myself enough to give myself the structure I need so that I can run without tripping. Okay. Where can you add more love? These aspects of yourself that are in conflict, which one needs a little bit more love? Is it your energy levels? More self-care, like Cassandra was mentioning. Lacking enough self-care. So again, where can we add more love? Miss Crystal says love is the answer. More loving foods. More short work bursts, right? Yeah, maybe those long sessions, those long creative sessions are just draining. And you could add more love. They're not fulfilling you. So we're noticing that. We're noticing being unfulfilled. And we're saying, how can I add another cup? How can I add more love to this? Short. Maybe you start setting a timer. Okay, 45 minutes to an hour, done. I need to go do something else after that. I can come right back after 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, however feels good to you, and try again. and go again, right? How can you support yourself? Yeah, mixed with meditation. That sounds like a blissful work day. Right? To little short bursts and rest, reset, get back to it. Whatever is going to work for you. But the answer is adding more love, right? Okay. So let's discuss discernment. So we've already come to understand that Virgo is a very discerning energy. And what does it mean by that? I think there's even to read the definition. Discernment, the act of perceiving in the absence of judgment. Perceiving without judgment. Discernment. Okay. So again, we're looking to have a discerning eye. Okay. That's not I'm okay with the situation where things are right now, but long term, this isn't for me. Okay. Not going to judge myself, not going to criticize myself. I'm not going to start up with the old storylines about what that means about me. Perceiving without judgment. Just make a note of it. And you love yourself so much. You're like, I'm going to move in that direction to do something about that. Right? Cassandra says a challenge of my own personal timeline is more self-love, speaking positively in the mirror, understanding and acceptance of slowing down on my art, giving as much to myself as I give to others in all aspects of my life, and especially honoring my body. This is so beautiful. This is coming up for you with this Virgo full moon. It's been craving fruit, and I sometimes choose comfort foods instead, but it is only temporary comfort. I need to eat the fruit literally and the fruit of my life. What a beautiful external reflection of that. Yes, right? We can try to fill this space with things that are not of this vibration, and it'll fail us every time. We'll think that, and I am so there with you. I have been in my anxiousness with this routine, and having to face my routine, falling into this old judgment pain, and I soothe it usually with candy or sweets, chocolate. That's one of my coping mechanisms. But what I really need and I'm working on is, how do I fill that space with love instead? So if we're going to learn to be more discerning, it's about, accepting where we're at, but still being willing to change. Discernment. How do we embody discernment? Whoa. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. So we've got the King of Pentacles showing up. There's your Virgo. And accompanying his energy is the Six of Cups and the Knight of Wands. So let's talk about this. Oh, wings of jewels. I'm not alone. Also soothing it with carbs mostly. Yes. Yes. And you know what? I heard once a long time ago and on a it was like a spiritual podcast or something. This person I was following for a while. I don't follow them anymore, but they were asked a question about craving sugar, right? And carbs are carbohydrates, sugars, it's all breaks down the same thing, right? That the body wants sugar. Um and they were saying that, that sweetness, just like Cassandra was saying with the fruit, that sweetness, it's love. It's artificial love. It's like I don't know if any of you watch Rick and Morty, but there's an episode where I'm gonna like, go off on a tangent, but it's real. There's an episode where like a version of him or something gets like taken into this Willy Wonka type factory, and they keep replaying this memory, this sweet memory in his head filled with love, and using that love energy to like drip into their chocolates or their candies so that it will make people want them because they're infused with love. But again, it's artificial, right? It's not going to fulfill us the way that that real love and real care and real nourishment is going to. So definitely something to be mindful of there. So let's look at these three cards: King of Pentacles, Six of Cups, and the Knight of Wands in reverse. There's a story playing out here with these characters. I'm going to hold them all up and I'm going to see if you can see it. So here we have the King of Pentacles, and he's kind of looking regal. He's got all the things that he has wanted to manifest. He's tended to his garden very dutifully throughout the years and now is sitting pretty. But as he's looking over his life, I see this as him looking over his life. So there really just is no room for judgment because everything that came before has led us to this moment now, right? This has definitely come up for me in the energy leading up to this full moon, and having my routine or lack of routine and how it's not working for me shoved into my face. I have had to practice so much discernment and not judging because, well, my goodness, I'm so thankful that this has been brought to my attention. So where can you give gratitude to your soul essence for bringing us to your attention so that you can do something about it? And how loving is that? And as we reflect on that with this last journal prompt, what would it look like to accept your desire to change without inhibiting your appreciation for what is? Because by appreciating what is coming up for us right now, by being able to really be present with the discomfort without judgment, to witness it, to see it, okay, maybe you cry with it. Maybe you take a moment and recognize how much pain you've been carrying or how much burdens you've been carrying, other people's burdens you've been carrying, how much you've been doing or wow, and allow yourself to just sit in that reverence for yourself for having got to this place And thank goodness for it being brought to your attention. And thank goodness for you having the awareness and the capacity of love to see it through loving eyes and release yourself from it and actually make the changes necessary to love yourself differently, to do things differently, to bring more love into your life. So appreciating what is, and what would that look like for you to appreciate what is while accepting your desire to change? And can you feel that release of judgment and that balanced Virgo Pisces energy of noticing real reality through the eyes of love and having the grace for who you've been and the compassion for where you're at to do something more loving, to make more loving choices for yourself. And it's absolutely necessary and possible to do this. Like, I think that maybe Virgo energy doesn't get enough credit where credit's due in being able to bring to life, to solidify what it is that we want. There's a book I highly recommend if you haven't read it. You've probably heard of it, called Atomic Habits. And I love Atomic Habits as an archetype of Virgo. I don't know if the author is Virgo, but the concept of the Atomic Habits is so Virgo. It's so Earth. It's even very Capricorn. It's like the Earth archetype. So if you struggle with understanding that energy and you need more structure, Atomic Habits is a fantastic book to read. But that if we just put a little bit of real effort every day in that direction, the outcome's inevitable. The outcome, we don't even have to worry about the outcome. The outcome takes care of itself. It just happens. But it happens, right? The magic of Pisces happens through the real reality of Virgo and making those steps and those loving choices every day so they work together. Aw. Oh, Cassandra says, I love you, Amanda. I need to hear all of this today so bad. Oh, I love you too. Not until right now did I realize I have been taking my awareness for granted and treating it with negative judgment instead of gratitude. Yes, you are so right. I am grateful things are being brought to my attention. Wow, perspective shift. Yes. It's all love, baby. It's all love. It gets to all be love. All right. Now, there is a creative prompt, as always, with these full moon energies. We're not going to do it right now, but if you are feeling so inclined and you want to play with this concept a little bit more, let's see what your creative juices have to say on the topic. The creative prompt, and I love this little play on words. My sensei taught me this. A routine is a route in, like a road. And if a routine is a route into greater love, the true essence of routine is a route in to greater love. What does your route look like? What does your route look like? What is it paved with? What's around it? If your routine is a route into greater love, what does that route look like? So for me, like that visual of running on a sagging floor and I need more structure just to support, not so much to cage me in, but enough that I can actually run at full speed. That's what I need. That's how I can show myself love. That's my route into greater love for myself. So I'm going to shore up my floors, my saggy floors, a little bit more, so that I can accomplish what it is that I want to accomplish, right? Because my novel's not going to write itself, and my business is not going to run itself, and my paintings aren't going to paint themselves. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to support myself as much as I can to do that. So if you do end up creating something regarding this prompt and you want to share it with the community, just make sure you tag Awakened Creators, because I would love to show the community what it is we're working on and doing in these sessions and how it's actually manifesting into physical form through the self-reflection that we're doing. So with that, I'm going to start wrapping it up, but I do want to remind you before we leave that the next creative ritual we do, it's going to be a big one. The next new moon is a new moon in Aries, which is the beginning of the astrological energetic wheel, start of the new astrological year. But not only is this a new moon in Aries, this is a new moon in Aries at 0 degrees. It is the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of your new life. So I'm going to make a bigger deal about it as the energies approach. But if you like these new moon rituals, especially the new moon ones where we actually do our affirmations and we plant our intentions and we affirm them for each other, do not miss this new moon. Come be with us. Let's be together. Let's supercharge. New moon in Aries, 0 degrees. Be there. Tell your friends to be there. Invite people that you love that are into astrology, that are creative, to be there for this new moon, because we are going to plant some Jack and the Beanstalk size seeds so that we can start taking off in this new direction. But before we do that, right, let's integrate this full moon in Virgo. Let's take the last of these final lessons and just integrate that. Okay, I understand. My awareness is an awareness from love, just pointing out some things where I can better support myself. I'm going to take action in those directions. I'm going to love myself enough to make the changes that I need so that I can reach the goals that I have set, that I desire to make manifest in this lifetime. And by the time we get to that new moon in Aries at 0, you are going to be so ready to plant those seeds. Wings of Jewels says jelly bean seeds. Woo! Yeah. They're going to be powerful. And they're going to be jam-packed with love. We're going to make sure they are jam-packed with love. So don't miss it. I don't have the exact date, but it's going to be somewhere around the 20th, 21st, I think, something like that. So in about 2 weeks. All right. Just make sure there's no more comments that I missed. Okay, cool. Well, thank you all so much for joining me on this beautiful full moon in Virgo. Maybe connect with the earth after this. Get into that earthly energy. Maybe pull out your planner, right? Virgo full moon would be a great time to pull out your planner, but actually come at it from the place of I'm doing this because I love myself and I'm going to support myself more. Come at it with that energy and tell me how it is for you. So I would just love to hear that. I love you, love you, love you. And I will see you again next time. Thank you so much for being here and being committed to your art, to your heart, to you. Namaste.